Good morning and happy Children's Day, and thank you very much for coming to our very special Sunday service. Today we have a special guest, Sensei Chris Goodin with Kendo student. And thank you very much and welcome to Jodo Mission. And today is also it's a Star Wars Day because of May the 4th. So I'd like to say May the 4th be with you. It's an interesting coincidence because the Kendo on the Star Wars Day, and the Kendo was very, gave influence to the George Lucas Star Wars. And the Jedi, as they say, the word Jedi came from Jidai. It's an era of the Jidaigeki. It's a samurai movie we call Jidaigeki. It's an era or age. And also, somebody said, oh, Yoda, Master Yoda was actually, they have a model, Mr. Yoda. Mr. Yoda became Yoda, but later it was denied. Just a rumor. So anyway, there was so much, relations with Star Wars, Jedi, and Kendo, the way of soul. So thank you very much for being here today. And first, invocation, page 3. Amida Buddha, the awakened one, the compassionate one, we ask for your guidance on this happy day. Lead us from the numbness of routine and from all bitterness of power to a peaceful place of compassion and wisdom. Grant us the strength and abiding consciousness to work together harmoniously in our temple and our community. Help us to always remember that life is one, and therefore that all living things coexist and are connected, and that your infinite light of compassion shines upon the hearts of everyone. Namaste. Thank you. Now, page 5, Bandana Tisara.
Namo reading together. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of life that stretches around the world. I must keep my link right and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle in every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that what I do now depends my happiness or misery. May everything in Amida Buddha's golden chain of life become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namaste. Thank you. Page 9. 8 podcast. The Buddha teaches us that we may become pure and holy by following the rules given now for us.
Let us repeat them and also remember at all times what they mean. First, right understanding. Let us learn and try to understand the truth. Second, right purpose. Let us try always to do what is right. Third, right speech. Let us be truthful and kind in all we say. Fourth, right conduct. Let us try to behave ourselves at all times. Fifth, right livelihood. Let us earn our living in a way which will not harm anyone. Sixth, right endeavor. Let us constantly try to become better. Seventh, right thought. Let us cherish our thoughts because our words and our actions arise from our thoughts. Eighth, right meditation. Let us think often of Amida Buddha and repeat the sacred name, Nam Amida Butsu. May the sacred presence of Amida, who said he would abide in his teaching, be our guide. May we follow his glorious example and tread with unfaltering steps this noble path until we too shall attain enlightenment. Nam Amida Butsu. Nam Amida Butsu. Now, Shoyakumo, in praise of Amida Buddha's life, traditional chanting, and joining with chanting, please offer incense. This is not mandatory, but if you don't mind, please do. Okay. So first, bow and grab the incense. To go to the chapel and bow. さあ、お願いいたします。光明天上十方世界念仏主上摂取者 The infinite light of Amida Buddha illuminates the 10 directions of the world, and all who call upon his name shall be received and never abandoned. Namu Amida. dedicating merit through the chanting of sutra passages and the calling of Amida Buddha's name is an important practice in Jodo Shu. This is a time to offer our prayers to our ancestors and beloved ones, as well as to remember them with gratitude for all they have done for us. May we aspire to live fruitful, peaceful life while sending our thoughts to those who are not with us in this world. Let us now offer our prayers so that everyone be released from suffering and be born into Amida Buddha's pure land of ultimate Page 26. Dedication of merit for all.
漢字識読平等性才道中五大師五条安楽国
We aspire for these merits and virtues to be equally bestowed upon all, and may we together develop the aspiration for enlightenment, to achieve birth in the pure land of peace and bliss. Please put your hands together in Gassho and recite Namu Amida in 10 times together. Tosho Junen Namu Amida Mi 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 Namu Amida Namu Amida Buddha Namu Amida Buddha. Okay, before introducing our guest speaker, we need to move the scene because we do have a demonstration here. Okay, guest speaker today is Sensei Chris Goodin. He has competed in the World Championship 4 times and belongs to the Hawaii Kendo Celebration. And welcome to Jodo Mission. Thank you so much. Really looking forward.
Hello, So I'd like to start by introducing ourselves. We're from the Aya Kaigeiji Kendo Club. I'm one of the teachers. This is my daughter, Maddie. She's 15. This is my son, Carter. He is 11. And that's one of our students, Kenzen Huno. He is 12. And his father, Sean, is also with us today. I guess my first point about Kendo is that it's a family activity. Many of the members of our club are all families. And so it's my privilege to get to practice with my children. And Kenzen had been practicing at the club for years, since he was a little kid. And about a year ago, his dad picked up the Shinai to start practicing Kendo. So that's one of the really wonderful things about it. And it's something that you can start when you're little babies, like Carter and my kids and Kenzen all did, or it's something you can start when you're a much older person. You know, Sean started a little late, and I would say that the oldest member of our club to ever start He retired from the IRS as a tax investigator at the age of 70. And all of his life, the local Japanese guy, he wanted to try Kendo. And so the moment he retired, he had a little bit of extra time on his hands, and he did Kendo with us for several years and found a lot of enjoyment in it. So with that, I can get started. Carter and Kenzen are going to be doing some demonstrations today. I can tell you a little bit about them. They've both been doing Kendo for a very long time, and they're kind of, at least locally, some of our more successful local competitors. In the 11 years in under division at the local tournaments, Carter took second at the last one, and Carter was in the 12, and Kenzen was in the 12 to 14-year-old division, and he took the championship. So they're very competitive individuals, and so they're going to be doing the demonstration today. Right now, I made some little flyers about Kendo and our club. Maddie's going to be handing them out, so please go ahead, Maddie. Carter and Kenzen will put their men on, so let's get it. So I'll start out by telling you a little bit about Kendo. Kendo is based on Japanese swordsmanship. The Japanese sword as we know it today first emerged around the 11th century with its curve and then the ridges on the back of the sword so that you can use that area to parry. Around the 11th century, the sword has not changed that much in that time. In the Japanese Warring States period, there was a lot of conflict, a lot of military action within Japan. Around the 1600s, that period ended, and there was a relatively long period of peace within Japan. It was during that time that a lot more thought was given to values and principles, and during a peacetime. And so I think a lot of the foundations for the principles of Kendo was laid during that time. And so in that time of peace, there was a lot more practice. And so you'll see them putting on the Kendo-gu, we call Bolgu. It was developed along with the Kendo bamboo sword or shinai in the 1700s. And so since that time, since the 1700s, the gear that we use in Kendo hasn't changed that much. And so what I'm wearing today is one of the more traditional ones. You'll see it's made all of cotton. The reinforced areas are made of deer skin. The cotton areas are made of futon. And the garment itself is dyed using traditional Japanese methods using aizonen. And so when you first get it, it turns you into a smurf. Nowadays though, you'll see Carter and Kenzen, they use kind of more of a dry fit material. So in Hawaii, it's a lot nicer. So during my day-to-day practice, I wear the dry fit material because it's much cooler than wearing cotton all the time. And the traditional ones actually are double lined, so it's not very great for a hot climate like we have here in Hawaii. As far as Kendo in Hawaii, there was a very large Kendo population since we've had Japanese immigrating to Hawaii in the late 1800s. Before World War II, there's records of being thousands of Kendo practitioners in Hawaii. During World War II, there was a ban on Japanese martial arts, and of course, members of the Japanese population were interned. And so Japanese martial arts were prohibited. I believe in 1945, the ban was lifted, and Kendo began again. And so from that period, there was a significant decrease in the Kendo population, down to the hundreds. So we went from thousands to hundreds. But we have still today a fair amount of Kendo in Hawaii, and we're trying to perpetuate that through our practices. Kendo, you can go over here on this side. I'll start by explaining the different parts of the Kendo Bolgu. And so what we have, Carter, is we have the men or helmet. We have the do or torso protector. This top part is normally made of cow skin or cow hide. You can also have it made of deer skin. It's kind of just a personal preference. The dodai is traditionally made of bamboo, but nowadays they use kind of like a carbon fiber or a plastic material. It tends to be a bit tougher. But they still do have ones that are made of bamboo. And then you have the tare or waist protector in case somebody hits and misses. The outfit is a Kendo gi, again, either cotton or synthetic, and the hakama, or trousers, very large trousers. Again, this is also cotton, like what I'm wearing, or synthetic, like what Carter's wearing. And the last piece is the kote, or gauntlet. And you have, of course, the shinai. And so this is basically how a shinai has been for a very long time. It's a single piece of bamboo that's been cut into 4 slats and held together by leather and string to fasten it. In terms of Kendo scoreable regions, you can score on the men from basically temple to temple. You can score on the right kote if the opponent is standing with their hands down, which is called Chudan no Kamai. If the opponent is standing with their hands up in what's called Jodan no Kamai, you can score also on the left gun. On the do, both sides of the do are scoreable, and it's the sides, not the front, that's considered a scoreable shot. And finally, for people who are black belt level and above, so normally not kids, because kids, to reach black belt, you have to be at least 13. You can also score with a stab to the throat. But that one can kind of be a little jarring or maybe a little dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So that isn't scoreable until a later point. That's when the kids learn. As far as the nature of the strikes, Kendo is the way of the sword. So it's very big on the principles of the sword, not necessarily actual military techniques. If you were going to swing a real sword, you would probably swing and try to cut through your opponent. That can actually be dangerous, even with a bamboo sword. You can hurt somebody, and so we don't want to do that. And so Kendo is more of a strike. It's a strike. And I would say one of the core principles is that you step and hit at the same time. The Japanese word for it is kiken tai ichi. So your spirit, kiai, ken, your sword, and tai, your body, all at one time, ichi. And so it's when you hit, the strike is all at the same time. That's the Kendo style of hitting. It's not you're going to hit and cut through your opponent. As I said, that could be dangerous. So it's a light, sharp movement where you power it mainly using your legs, and your upper body stays relatively loose. Everything kind of relaxed, very relaxed. So with that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the cultural components of Kendo. And as I'm explaining the cultural components, I'm going to have Carter and Kenzen demonstrate some things. And so the first point of Kendo, and we already see it, is called chokso, how you present yourself, how you wear your equipment. In Kendo, it's very important that you show seriousness when you come to the dojo. And so everything should be tied correctly, all of your gear should be in good condition, nothing should be tattered or breaking down. And so it's that level of seriousness that they show when they come to the dojo, and one of our greatest hopes with having young students is that they can integrate these types of concepts into their daily lives, so that they show the same seriousness, same readiness when they go to different places like school and ultimately when they go to work. The next concept that we have in Kendo is reiho, or respect. One of the most common expressions in Kendo is Kendo begins and ends with rei. And so when we enter the dojo or training hall, we bow to the shomen, or the front. And when we start any kind of practice, the senseis and the students bow to each other. And when we start any match, the participants bow to each other. And so they're going to demonstrate that. The beginning of every match, the two participants are about 9 steps apart. And then they're going to come out and they're going to come into a ceremonial squat or sonkyo. You can see they're squatting. Stand up. This squat is seen in 2 Japanese martial arts or activities. One is Kendo, the other is sumo. you still see it. And so I believe the Sonkyo ceremonial posture is also taken to this day at some Shinto shrines in Japan. Okay? And so this, what you see now, is the beginning. Ordinarily, they start a little bit farther away, right about here. This is how every match starts, and the stance that they're in is called Chuda. The last thing I'll say about respect, or reiho, in Kendo, is that it's so important that you show your respect for your opponent. That if you have actually scored a point, if you do any kind of showboating, like what you would see in lots of typical sports nowadays, even like a little fist pump, in Kendo, that's a penalty, and they will take the point away. So if you went hit, man, you're awarded the point, and as you're finishing, you went like this, the point would immediately be taken away from you, because that's disrespectful to your opponent. So that word in Kendo is torikeshi. They would take it off and wave off the point. The next concept of Kendo that I'd like to share is sutemu, which means to throw away. You throw away yourself. You commit to your techniques so strongly that everything is, I guess the way they put it is like 100%. You go in 100% and you show that level of commitment. And again, this is a concept that we try to ingrain in the students in their daily lives. That when they're ready to go, they go and commit themselves 100%. So we're going to show the first basic strike to the man. Kenzen will demonstrate 4 times man with complete commitment, and Carter will demonstrate man. And what you'll see is they have to kiai. In Kendo, you don't just hit, you have to call out the points that you're hitting, because that shows intention. If you were to yell the point for kote, you yell kote, you miss the kote, and instead you accidentally hit the man, and you say kote, there'd be no point. No point, because there's no intention. You have to act with purpose. So with that, why don't you guys move forward a little bit and demonstrate 4 times, then change sides. And what you'll see when they hit is they set their body in first, and then they hit. You'll notice. So go ahead. Hold back! You see the motion is very compact, very compact. Move back a little bit back. Big here. That's energy. And that brings me to my next concept I'd like to share. And that is ria, or logic. In Kendo, it's no good if you just go 100% without thinking about it. It has to be with a plan, with purpose, with logic. So that when you go in to hit your opponent, there's a good opportunity, and you've created that opportunity through your technique. And so, to demonstrate that, the first drill that they did was step in, hold. Step in, hold. And in that process, you feel how your opponent is reacting. And then if the opponent is relatively loose, that's good opportunity to hit them here, because the shinai is not going to block. But if the opponent, you step in and touch, and you feel them push back. Step in, you feel them push back. That's an opportunity to hit them on the wrist. So they'll demonstrate that. The push, the opponent pushes back, and you hit. 4 times. Hoteochi. Jesus. So in Kendo, so much of it is about the setup. In a lot of day-to-day practice, people can become very proficient in executing the basics. When the opponent opens and they hit 100%, and it's very, very beautiful to watch. You see that type of commitment, that type of technique. But when they enter competitive situations, your opponent's not just going to let you hit them. And so by having a good setup, you create more certainty that the opponent is going to open at those right times. And so just as much as proper hitting, I try to make a point to teach the students about proper setup and pressure, or the Japanese word is seme, on the opponent, so that you create those good opportunities and you have a chance as a participant to hit with 100% commitment, not hedging in any way. The last thing that I'll show as a concept of Kendo, and this one I think in particular translates very well to everyday life, is Zanshin. The literal translation of Zanshin is the remaining mind. And so it's after executing your technique, you follow through and you remain mindful of what comes next in the match. Because there are times where you may think that you scored the point, but for whatever reason, the point is invalid and it is not called. And you have to be ready in those instances for what comes next. And so, as the person who just got hit, that is actually a very good opportunity to follow up as your opponent is following through and hit them. So in this instance, they're going to hit do and follow through, and as they turn around, the person who just got hit is going to try to catch them as they turn. So this is an illustration of either having good zanshin if you turn properly and you're ready, or not having good zanshin if you turn and you get hit. So for this one, why don't we start over here? Oh, no. Kenzen, go first. Okay. So, Kenzen, you illustrate card of follow-up. So, you should block. Block that one. But for what it's worth, that goal that Kenzen just hit, that would have been scored. So it wouldn't get there, but we actually do this drill on a daily basis. We teach them to do this, and I have the side that's receiving follow up and try to land so that everyone stays very aware of it on that turn. I wanted to share about Kendo. I also like to talk about what a practice looks like. What does Kendo practice look like? If anyone has any kind of interest in Kendo, what you could expect is the practice will begin with you just coming to class in a t-shirt, shorts. As you can see, we practice barefoot. So there's very little barrier to entry in terms of starting practice for Kendo. You'll probably, on your first practice, buy a shinai, which costs about $25 for an entry-level one. And I'll say, Kendo equipment nowadays has become much more affordable. Back in the day when I started, most of it came from Japan. And so you can imagine that this is in like the 90s. The gear would probably cost them at least $1,000, which was a lot back then. It's still a lot now. But I think now it's being sourced from other places. And so the gear probably 300, 400 something, which is much better, for today's dollars. So as a beginner, after a number of months, you would eventually get to the point of buying keikogi, hakama, bogu, but all of it's within reason. And in terms of the tuition, it depends on where you go, but our club is very cheap. So I think the tuition comes out to about $10 a month, and that's for 2 classes a week. So, I pay for my kids' gymnastics classes, and it's $20-something a class. So, I think it's kind of a steal. Some places are a little more expensive because they have more rent. But even then, I think it comes out to maybe $30, $40 a month. So again, it's very affordable, and for multiple classes, it comes out to next to nothing on a class-by-class basis. And so as far as what you do learning, I can have Carter and Tenzin demonstrate. It's mainly footwork and how to properly swing the shinai. So Carter, why don't you go right over here in the aisles, I don't know if you can see. Tenzin, you face this. Wow, Tenzin, why don't you come on this? A little bit more space. And so the first thing you'll see is footwork. And so we're going to go 4 steps forward, 4 steps back. I'll count. And so this is it's called suriashi, or sliding footwork. And you'll notice that the right foot is always forward in this chudan stance that they've been taking. Hach, nek, top, check, hach, nek, top, check, hach, nek, top, check, hach, nek, top, check. And so they're very small steps. And the reason the steps are small is you want to have stability. You want stability, particularly when you're in a match, especially when you're in tight situations. You need to have stability so at any moment you can hit. Large steps tend to be a little longer, looser, and it's not great. So small, compact, sharp movement is what we're always aiming for, and we try to do that even from the beginning of Kendo. The next thing is how to swing the shinai. And so for this, there's a 3-step how to swing the shinai called Men Samkyodo. You'll encounter this anywhere as your first drill in Hawaii and probably anywhere in the world. One nice thing about Kendo is it's very traditional, so a lot of the same traditions that have been around forever have been carried forward throughout the world, because at this point, it's somewhat of a global activity. We have the World Kendo Championships every 3 years. And so the same warm-ups that you encounter at a dojo here on it's a standard 8 count. I think it comes from Japanese military days. It's the same 8 count you would see in Japan, the same 8 count you would see in Brazil. So we'll start with Men Sankyodo. Hach, nek, san, kiai. Hach, nek, san. Hach, nek, san. Hach, nek, san. Okay? And so that's as broken down as it can possibly get in terms of swinging the shinai. And so you'll notice that the footwork isn't that jumping, stomping footwork that you saw earlier. So this is really just the basics so that you can learn the posture, learn the positioning of the hands, and learn, it's kind of a funny thing to say, but learn to be relaxed. Yeah? Learn to be relaxed. The next stage in that progression is to turn it from a 3 count to a 2 count. So we'll now do men ni kyodo. Hach! Ni. Hach! Ni. Hach! Ni. Last one. Hach! Ni. Yame. Okay. And then the last thing that you'll probably learn as a beginner is kirikaishi. And so it's a continuous hitting drill, and I can probably say with confidence that every Kendo dojo in the world, as part of their drills, begins with kirikaishi. And so you're swinging 4 cuts sideways, stepping forward, and then 5 cuts stepping back, and you hit men in between, men straight. So go ahead, you can do this. You can do this. Go ahead, control pace. Let's rip. Demonstrating today is how to hit men to step at the same time, how to hit kode, how to hit do. That would probably be a lot of what the basics are about. I myself am normally the kids coach at our club. I coach the kids. Really, I always have an eye toward competitive success when we enter tournaments, and so I kind of coordinate the drills in that way. One of my biggest takeaways about Kendo outside of Japan is that our kids are somewhat at a disadvantage because in Japan, they have tournaments multiple times a month. In Hawaii, we have 3 tournaments every year. So the output of tournaments, or the frequency of tournaments, is much less. And I think because there's a gap between how you do your Kendo at a tournament and everywhere else. And so what I try to do for my kids when I'm running the drills is after running through all of these drills for effective movement, distance control, we immediately go into scored matches. And so my own aim or my own goal for the students is that when they go into a scored match, their pulse doesn't change. I want it so that when they go into a scored match, it's just like practice. I don't want them to feel any type of additional tension. And so it's with that level of frequency of scored matches every class, they feel confidence when they step into the real shiaijo and they're being judged. And so that's the last thing I'll talk about, which is competition. I've had the privilege, as the bishop said, of representing Hawaii 4 times at the World Kendo Championships as a player. I last went to the World Kendo Championships last year in July as a coach. I kind of made that transition. I know myself, I can feel my own body declining bit by bit, but as it declines, I want to take the kids' ability up and up and up so that I can pass it on to the next generation. And so my own interest is more in coaching nowadays. I still will enter local competitions more just for fun, not with the expectation of winning. But for the kids, my expectation is that they're going to win. And so I really, really push that. I push them hard, and I'm very proud of how hard they work. Just to give you an idea, in addition to the local competitions, we also go to regional competitions. We went to one of the biggest ones in Southern California this past January. Probably the most famous club in the United States hosted a tournament, so I figured we have to be there. And so we had a 3-kid team, Carter, Kenzan, and a girl named Kyoka. Their picture is on the flyer that was handed out to you, and they took second place. It was very good, very close. Went to sudden death in the finals, couldn't quite eke it out, but it was very, very good, and I'm so proud of it. The other big regional tournament, that one was kind of a one-off. They don't have that tournament every year, but the one that is held every year is in Richmond, Canada. So it's right next to Vancouver on the west coast. We go there every February, and a 5-person team made up of Carter, Kenzan, Maddie, and 2 others took 3rd place. So very, very good. And again, I'm so proud of them. They train very, very hard. As far as what's the purpose of competition? Why do we compete in Kendo? I think part of it is to continue your own practice and your own development. I think that sport matches in Kendo are somewhat of a stress test. The stress you feel when you're just in practice is one level. There's certainty that you're going to be able to hit the opponent. When there's somebody judging, just at a local, in your dojo setting, there's a different level of stress that you feel because they're not going to open up and actually they want to win the match and hit you. So that's a different level of stress. When you're at a local tournament, it's even higher. People want to win more. When you're at a regional tournament, it's even higher, and the people are training that much harder. And finally, when you're at the World Kendo Championships, you may get lucky enough to play the Japan national team. I've had the opportunity twice to play it, and I'll tell you, it's not that they hit hard, because that's actually not advantageous in Kendo. It's that they have just so much certainty that when they set up, it's going to happen. And so when they hit, it's just amazing. It almost, to tell you what it feels like, it's almost like you're getting hit by lightning. Not the actual cuts that they execute on you, but the way they make you feel and the reaction you get. It feels like getting hit by lightning. So it's that level that I hope the children can achieve of certainty, because it does happen once in a while that a Japanese national player loses to a non-Japanese. Happens with Koreans, I would say every tournament, because the largest Kendo population outside of Japan is in Korea. But it does happen even non-Koreans beat Japanese once in a while. So that, as our outside of Japan, that is always the goal, to beat a Japanese player. It's again, I always analogize it to, we're a bunch of like guys who meet at the park all the time and love basketball, and you have to play the NBA because it's professional, and there's like 3 million people in Japan who do Kendo. So at that level, you reach true athletes who get to compete. And so with all of that, I can have a match between Carter and Kenzan. It's easy to move that just a little bit. Sorry. Okay. So a Kendo match, normally there's a court, and if you step outside of the court twice, you lose a point. Here, there's no court, so we're just going to try to, I'll call stops if anyone gets close to anything. But the match normally runs 3 to 5 minutes in regulation time. The first person to score 2 points wins. If somebody only scores 1 point in that time, they will win with 1 point in the regulation time. If nobody scores a point, typically you'll just have go into sudden death. And it's whoever wins the first point. So, that sets apart. Stand up here.
Yeah!
you have to stay kind of loose in Kendo. The actual hits have to be very sharp. And so the way that you can still create sharp hits while remaining loose is by using your legs. You transfer the energy from your lower body to your upper. So that's kind of what you see here. The other thing that you saw is these two are pretty fierce competitors. And so they don't like getting hit. Because once you get hit twice, it's over. And so you'll see there's a lot of movement and a little ducking on Carter's part. You shouldn't do that. Because once you duck, aside from, you might dodge, but you cannot really come back to counter well if your posture is compromised. And I should say that posture is part of that chokso. You stand straight, you look presentable. Yeah, but it is good. With that concludes my remarks about Kendo. I would like to open it up for audience participation. If everyone wants to pick up a shinai, I also have some newspaper, so maybe we can do that. Newspaper. You can try to cut the newspaper. This is kind of a fun game we do with kids. Yeah, Hardy, you keep yours up. So, what you see, just to demonstrate, hopefully I don't mess up. Oh, yeah. You're going to cut the newspaper, and you end it here. Try not to swing down and hit the ground. But for that purpose, we brought a pillow inside of the bag. Because it's happened a lot when we do this sort of thing. A little bit higher. So all you're going to do is swing, and I'll tell you the secret to it is to meet the newspaper with the edge and to swing it relatively fast. If you do those things, it should cut through very cleanly. If you'd like to try, we have lots of newspaper. Please come down. Also, if you want to feel what it's like to swing a shinai, be my guest to get Carter. He'll be here all day. Why don't you guys take the newspaper maybe over here, and then I'll stay with Carter. Anyone wants to come try swing a shinai? Okay, let's go, please. Please come. Try. Come. Tenzin. Let's get the shinai.
Oh my gosh.
They're going to swing it this way. Have them face this way. So you guys put it over here, and then have the person swing this way. I don't want to think about it again. Okay. Okay, you on that side. Oh. Shot. Maybe you can.
Don't they hit that for the then you're gonna come.
Oh, no! Very good.
Okay, come out really quick. Okay?
All right. So it's kind of big for you.
Okay, you got it?
Good. Don't worry, hard. It's okay. Doesn't hurt.
Yes.
Good job. Okay.
See how the tip is falling
So you just swing. Maybe you should. Then you swing, you say meh. And the string represents the backside of the leg. The string is the there you go. And say meh.
It's not as easy as it looks.
There you go.
Yes.
They really like go for it, huh? You guys see? Yeah, so in Kendo, you can check in all sorts of ways. So one is low, and another one is high, and another one is high left. All of that's about. You can't wrestle. Back in the day, more was allowed. Yeah.
Just go straight.
Yeah, move back. There you go, 2 times.
Right hand.
Just let this shine. So he actually does Kendo. Oh, he does Kendo. So I'm kind of just giving him a little more instruction.
Tutelage.
More relaxed. Yeah, because you want to ultimately, if you have your arms are going to do something, but your legs are really what's going to power the hip. That's what's going to do.
A little faster. A little faster.
Is that it? So at our club, we have end of year games for the kids. And so one of the games is, it's actually cumulative. You accumulate points as you win different games for these kids groups. And for this one, we make them gamble. You get 1 point per piece of paper. So you can cut as many as you want in one cut. But if you don't complete it, you don't get any points. So I've seen it where they cut 10 pieces of paper in one cut. But it's risky if you do that. Anyway, that about does it for our discussion of Kendo. Thank you so much for having us. If you have any interest in trying Kendo, our flyers have all of the information. It has our link to our Facebook page where you can see lots of pictures and photos and all this, videos and stuff. If you happen to live around this area, it's probably more beneficial to look at a club nearby. So the closest club to this location would be, I think, is Ryoji? So Kenshikan is a Japanese cultural center. That's really close. Ryoji is on Nuwanu. Daijingu is on Pali. So there's lots of clubs right in the area. There's a link on the flyer to the club locations and times at the very bottom. So please check that out if you have any interest.
I do have to say that our club though has probably the most kids. And not only kids, but girls.
I don't know, for whatever it is, we're a magnet for the girl Kendo players. So we're very, very fortunate. But with that, and we're of course in Pearl City. So if you have any interest and you're kind of in the area, please check us out. Everybody stand straight.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call Sari and our President Garo Masaki to present Ode to Sensei instruction.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, we will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to conclude this service with benediction. Opening page 10. Amida Buddha surrounds all men and all forms of life with infinite love and compassion. Particularly that he sent forth loving thought to those in suffering and sorrow, to those in doubt and ignorance, to those who are striving to attain truth, and to those whose feet are standing close to the great change of this. Amida Buddha sends forth oceans of wisdom, mercy, and love. Okay, once again, thank you very much. Today is Children's Day, and I'd like to say Happy Children's Day to all of you because it doesn't matter how old you are, we are all children. We are all children. The fact we are born means we are children. So this is a day for me and for you. Let's celebrate together. And today, our ladies prepared a very good luck food. It's called kashiwa mochi. Kashiwa mochi is a mochi with a sweet bean wrapped with a kashiwa opening. However, here in Hawaii, we hardly get kashiwa opening, so we actually wrap with a tea. So we enjoy tea mochi together. And also, I prepared some Japanese traditional toys, such as okedama, juggling, koma, spinning top, and dharma otoshi at the social hall. So, because we are all children, let's enjoy playing Japanese stuff. Once again, thank you very much. And next week we have a Mother's Day service, and our guest speaker will be Mr. Nate Jodo. He's a president and executive board director, Japan Cultural Society, JCC. Okay, thank you very much. And let's go to the social hall. Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。
Good.